Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to this episode of the Mansa Kunda. Today we have a very important ministry. Why is it important? Because we all know that in the last GBOS census, it tells us that over 60% of our population are young people. And that's a very important demographic statistics. This ministry is the Ministry of Youth and Sports under the leadership of his Honorable Minister Bakary Badjie. Is responsible for not only sports development but also youth development, because these two go together. Young people who do sports. And sports itself is a political economy of its own. Countries that are able to invest in sports and harness the potentials of sports are able to contribute significantly to their GDP. And when I say sports, it's not only football. We tend to think that football is the only sport. And we've seen a significant and remarkable development and success and achievements in this sector under the leadership of Honorable Bakary Badjie. Before I think the main international sports activities we participate in is mostly football, but now we've seen how we have diversified it. Handball, basketball, another forms of athletics. Our Gambians are excelling now. We've seen in the last Olympics, I think past two Olympics and international fora. We've seen how Gina Bass is representing Gambia. We've seen how Gambia has also recently, for the first time in our history, under the leadership of His Excellency Adama Barrow and the leadership of Bakary Badjie, Gambia has qualified or had qualified to play in the African Nations Cup. So when I was growing up, we could only qualify. In fact, there was no qualifier rounds for the Zone 2. So automatically we played the Zone 2, but we never won the Zone 2 trophy. But we now qualify for the highest game in the continent, which is AFCON. So today, as usual, we'll have Bakary Badjie and his team, Honorable Bakary Badjie, interface with Gambians to ask questions about how his sector is faring. What are his plans for the sector? What are his achievements so far? What programs are he going to place ensure that young people are developed, but also sports is developed in tandem? Like I said, this statistics, 60% of the population under 35 holds huge potential for Gambia. Because the young people are the productive base. Other countries are struggling today to get a labor force. That is why their GDP is shrinking. Countries like Japan, countries like China, countries like even France, UK, Italy, within the EU countries. We have on the other hand, a large productive base, the young people. But these young people will not be able to be productive if you don't refine and develop their potential and create that environment. That is what the Youth and Sports Ministry has been doing, and that is what we want Honorable Bakary Badjie to tell us. What is the ministry doing? What is the sector doing to create that enabling environment for young people to grow and develop their potentials and be able to contribute to national development? But also at the same time, what is the sector doing to promote and develop sports so that it becomes also a mainstay of our economy, just like how tourism and agriculture is the mainstay of our economy. And I've always argued that not everybody wants to become a farmer, not everyone wants to be working with entrepreneurship or with skills. Some people are creative. It's what we call the creative industry. We need to promote the creative industry. There are those whose potentials given by nature it's in sports. Therefore we need to identify those potentials from an early age and make sure they go on to fulfill those potentials to benefit themselves, their families, their communities, but also the entire country and the entire continent at large. I think that is why I think this sector is important, because if the Gambia is to develop, there is this sector. If the Gambia is to underdevelop and retrogress, it is this sector. I'm happy that today we have members of the press here today. We have young people from the University of the Gambia. We're happy that we are here. As usual, what we do is we play 5 minutes documentary to give us a hint of what the sector is doing or has been doing or intends to do. Then we will give 4 minutes to the members of the High Table to introduce the agency they work for, their designation, and also their mandate in both English and the local language of their choice. Then we will open the floor for discussions. Like I said, at the Ministry of Information, our core mandate is to ensure we bring information to the people, to promote accountability and transparency, and consolidate our democracy. But also bring information from the people to the government. And this forum provides that platform for that to happen. So citizens can ask questions about how their country is governed, how their tax money is used, but also to discuss their aspirations, their challenges, and also their contributions in running this country. Let me first acknowledge the presence of key people in the hall. Everybody is important here, but I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Director of the Department of Information Services, Mrs. Aisa Davis is here. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Information is here, and her team, the DPS, the Principal Assistant Secretary, they are all here today. The team from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Honorable Bakary Badjie and our team, RPS, Demarinjai, Alaji Jabu is here, and is the Director of the National Youth Council, and also in the front row we have members also of the National Youth Council. Mbadingol mbaa jayla na Mansa Kunda do fana binga min soto bi Mansa Kunda do kumata bake muna kumandi bawo nga minister min soto bi wala minister mi alon ko atele maralen funding kella nyato tala anim funding kella yurwa anim bala kando ka fa sport fana yurwa ngalon ko Gambia bi inin keme benta taworo be mu funding kelati ngalon ko ala sango man sanni tan sabanen lulo si odo nyimu ko ngalon ko akumata bake nim funding kela yurwa wala Gambia yurwati ela nyarda wala Gambia nyarda wala minister ma ko marali nyin na do wala minister ma akumata bake konka ke nyamen drong mbe minister bala ay kacha anim banko dingole kacha afu banko dingole ala ministry be moneka kan muneng ela hammoti pour banko dingole nimradi anim be silo kala ala do nyol wo fana sa ko tolon jumati anen munela do koti sinanga microphone yela ngadi banko dingol la finance la miro fo ningin karo soto sinyin karo ke kata minister kan isaja asafwe afananka ala ministry tamam di nyamen oron kula mi angka kumata bake konka fa nyantol Ministry of Information na do ko lon kayo ka kibaro bonde Mansa Kunda ka fena banko dingolye bari fana kibaro fena banko dingolye ka fena Mansa Kunda kaje ko banko dingolye Mansa Kunda filo kana tare tema chokindi wolong banko la nyato tabi mbokay di dalal di len ziar bu baax si Mansa Kunda mi nga xamne mu lañu am tay te nak Mansa Kunda bu am solo la am nañ fi ko xamne nak moom mooy Minister of Youth and Sports mooy ministre mi nga xamne moom lañ dénk wàllu ndawi ak tàggat yaram bi xam nañ ne Gambia téeméer boo dajal juróom fukk ak benn yëpp ndaw lañ kon ndaw yi ñoo fi bari te ndaw yi seen jëm kanam moo jëm kanam réew bi parce que dañ ko di faral di wane ndaw yi ñooy kilifay ëllëg kon kilifay foog ñu tàggat leen jàngal leen lépp loo xam ne mooy tax bañ mën a njëriñ seen boppa njëriñ seen waajur njëriñ réew mi waa tamit njëriñ àdduna si yëpp kon loolu lu am solo la kon te am nañ fa ministre ak tiimam di wane ñun Ministry of Information suñ liggéey mooy ñu gis ne réeróo bu mu am diggante nguur ak askan wi naka lañ ko defee moo ñu gis ne saa yu nekk ñu jëlee xibaar si nguur di ko jëmale si askan wi waaye tamit jëlee xibaar si askan wi di ko esi si nguur su boobaa askan wi xam la nguur di def lan mooy seen pas-pas lan mooy seen éene ak lan mooy seen taxawaay si liggéeyum réew waaye tamit askan wax nguur ñoom tamit lan mooy seen xalaat ak lan mooy seen bébét kon lii nag lu am solo la di leen dalal bu baax a baax xam naa ne amoo waxtu ba ju bari du ma mën a oo ñëpp ñu fi nekk tey teewu fii nii waaye di wane képp koo xam ne jóge nga si nguur ñëw nga fi teewu fii di la dalal di la nuyu di la jaajëfal bu baax a baax am na xale yoo xam ne ñii jànga si daara ju mag ji bi ñoo oo université ñu ngi fi pour ñëw jàkkaarloo ak ministre bi presse baa ngi fi ak ñeneen ñi nga xam ne doomi réew yi leen ñu ngi fi tey pour ñëw jàkkaarloo ak ministre bi ni ñu ko dee defee rek mooy dañoo commencé jox ministre bi 10 minutes ak juróom mu waxtaan ak askan wax ñu lan la ministre bi nekk di def lan mooy ineem ak lan mooy taxawaayam si secteur bi su ko defee ñu play benn documentary 5 minutes ñu won ñu tuuti rek lan liggéey mi nga xam ne moom lañ nekk di def si def gi suñ paree moom ñim àndal ñu wax ñoom ñooy ñaan ak si lu ñoo liggéey su loolu weesoo nag waxtaan ngi commencé ñu ibbi laay nii ki nga xam ne képp koo xam ne am nga laaj pour laaj ministre bi rek nga laaj ko kon di leen jaajëfal baax a baax honorable ministre di la oo nga ñëw waxtaan ak jàkkaarloog askan wi te nag bii mooy Mansa Kunda bi nga xam ne amul façon parce que mooy nekk Mansa Kunda boo xam ne lépp si lii la wéeru finance agriculture health lépp lu nguur di def daf ko def pour ndaw yi parce que ndaw yi ñooy kilifa ëllëg ñooy yóbbu réew mi kon honorable minister welcome to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone here, most especially our Minister for Information, who is also overseeing the communication and digital economy, Dr. Ismail Assise, and to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Ms. Neymar Njai, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Information, Madam Jai, and all the Deputy Permanent Secretaries, the directors and the managers that are present here, as well as other staff, senior staffs of the ministry and the satellite institutions of the two ministries, the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Ministry of Information, our partners from the associations, sport associations, youth organizations, and everyone that is here from the media. First, we're really glad to be here, and we want to extend our appreciation to the Minister for this very important initiative of creating an interface, a platform for ministries and ministers to interface with the public directly and through the mediums. But like he said, the Ministry of Youth and Sports is one of the ministries responsible for one of the key sectors in the country, which is the young people. And as we know, majority of our population are youth below 35, and the statistics shows it in the recent census. But also we are responsible for sports, one of the largest industry in the world in today's realities. To go straight to the point in terms of what the ministry has been doing in the last, in the few years, or specifically focusing on this year with some things from the previous year. Some of you that follow the media would know that, like Dr. Sise said, under this government of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, the Ministry of Youth and Sports have been doing well in terms of delivering to the young people and to the sports sector. And this includes the policy aspect, wherein we're looking at some of the documents that guide our operation as a ministry and as a sector. And in 2022, the ministry took the National Youth Policy to Cabinet, and it was approved at Cabinet, which is the policy that is guiding our operation as a ministry as well as the institutions under us. And this 5-year policy is currently what we are using. But recently also we have finalized the National Sport Policy, and in the coming weeks it will be tabled in Cabinet so that it also serves as a guide to what we as a ministry envision for the sports sector, but also serve as a guide to our sports stakeholders to buy into the policy, and all of us work together to achieve what we desire for our sports. In the policies again, the ministry has been working with partners through a consultant to develop what would be the Gambia's first National Sport Act. And this act, well, now in a bill form, has already gone past the level of the consultant. It has been reviewed by the Ministry of Justice, and it's supposed to go to it's going to put the National Assembly, but first to the Cabinet, and then eventually to the National Assembly. I said the first Sport Act because what we have right now is a Sport Council Act that establishes the office that we call the Sport Council. But we never had a Sport Act that will really regulate sports and sports people in the country, and that is at that advanced stage. In that sport bill, we have the Sports Tribunal, the intention to establish a sport tribunal that is now going to arbitrate between sport associations and sport people, but also between sport associations and others that are in this sector. The bill would also give power to our proposal, what would be a national sport authority that is going to now take over the issues and mandates of sports and sports management. In that bill also, we are proposing a platform which is going to be the anti-doping platform in line with international sport practices so that sports become fair to everyone else that is involved in it. But it has a component that looks at sports marketing and what associations can have the right to, for instance, sue anyone or in companies that use sport associations and sport events to do marketing for their company without having any return to the association. So these are some of the things that we're putting in this bill, and like I said, we expect it to be adopted soon. Now, apart from the policies, the ministry has been doing quite well in terms of our infrastructure development. And I'm going to start with the Independence Stadium, the much talked about Independence Stadium that has become an interest to every individual, even those that are not sport people now talk about the Independence Stadium. So ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the updates, the work is going well, and we are hopeful that by the end of this month, everything that we were supposed to do as part of the requirements of CAF will be fulfilled. Now, I said end of this month because work essentially is completed. Everything else, the pitch, the changes that needs to be done in the inside and the outside is completed. So they're just doing some finishing touches in terms of fixing the media tribune, our friends from the media. And that container is already in town. So we're hopeful that even by the end of this week, everything will be done and then left with the finishing touch. And you all know that government has committed a total amount of $285 million for the completion of the first phase and the second phase of the stadium. And we pride ourselves in it for the fact that this stadium was built in 1983. And for 40 years, the stadium has never undergone any kind of maintenance job or renovation. And we inherited it, and we're able to bring it to the standard that is expected it to be. And in addition to that, the ministry is currently in the final phase of Mboyo Fields. For some of you that live in Serakunda backwater, you know that there's a football field that was called Mboyo Field, which we are now developing into a full mini stadium with a football pitch and grass and a pavilion, as well as a 3-in-1 court that is supposed to be for basketball, volleyball, and handball. In the provinces, we've completed and handed over the Kiang Mandua football field. We handed over the Buyam football field. In the provinces, they call it mini stadium, so sometimes we also call it mini stadium because other people call it. But in real sense, they are football fields. We've also completed Janjambore and Mandua, it's called Sandu in Kiang. So all of these have been completed and they're handed over to the communities, and they're using them for the first time, playing under a fenced field with change rooms that are available with a perimeter fence and some seating capacity. And our intention is to be able to do more for the people in that area of the country because they also deserve to play in a secure and leveled playing field. Still in the sport aspect, recently, if you follow the media, you've seen how much the ministry has been giving to our national team. And like the minister said, we would be proud to say that it is under this government that government is able to put in sports more money than any time in the history of the country. And people do try to doubt that, but if you look at the numbers, it tells you for itself. It's not about saying this, but how much are we putting in? In the last AFCON, when we qualified, government put in a total of $105 million in all the qualifying matches put together for the team to qualify to AFCON for the first time, which is the first ever investment in football by a government in the past in this country. And we believe that in addition to the player dedication, the coach's tactics, that money is part of what makes us succeed in qualifying. Secondly, we've done the same thing again for the second qualifiers, and we are currently doing that for these third qualifiers, and we look forward to qualifying. In our recent times this year, government have spent 15 million in our last qualifier matches in September for Gambia with Comoros and Tunisia. And in this current qualifier that they are currently in Morocco, we've given $12 million to the Federation to support the participation of the team in today's match and that of Monday. And we look forward to doing the same thing in our November qualifiers. Other sports have also benefited from the ministry, which again is unprecedented because we all know that football was what was talked about in the past. So recently, the ministry have supported the Gambia Handball Association with a total of $2 million to support them participate in the Zone 2 handball competition in Mauritania, in Nouakchott. And then also we've given a $1.5 million to the Gambia Paralympics Committee to support their participation in the Paralympics competition in France, Paris. The Gambia Judo Association was giving a total of $622,500 for their participation in the World Championship in Abu Dhabi. And again, on the volleyball side, we're giving a total of $1,752,000 for them to participate in the Morocco competition as part of their preparation for the qualifiers of the Olympics. And recently, we've given another $1 million to the under-17 of the volleyball to go to China to participate in the under-17 World Championship. The Gambia National Olympics Committee was supported with $7 million for the Gambia's participation in the Olympics in Paris. And then the list goes on. The Tijan Jeta Foundation was supported $1.5 million to cover the team's participation in the Norway Cup. So the list is long. But we've also given the similar support to Gambia Basketball Association for the Zone 2, which, again, congratulations to them. They became the champions of Zone 2 in Guinea-Bissau. The Gambia Amputee Association was supported with $2.6 million to participate in the African Cup of Nations tournament for amputees with a total of $2.6 million that was held in Egypt. So all of these plus others that we cannot list based on time shows the government commitment to supporting all kinds of sports and ensuring that our young people are supported to participate at the international level. Similar support is given to the young people. We have given support to the Yali cohort that have gone to Ghana to participate in the Yali program in 2 occasions. And we've also given similar support to a group that went to the Mandela Fellowship in the United States of America recently. On the side of entrepreneurship, the ministry continues to work through the National Enterprise Development Initiative to support young people across the country who are interested in doing business or are interested in entrepreneurship-related initiative. And as recent as May of this year, we gave a total of $1,450,000 to various young people who are into business. And in last year, we gave a total of $2 million in cash support in the form of grants to young people who are interested in business. NEDI also continues to work through other partners to do trainings for our young people on entrepreneurship, including the IOM project that support the migrant returnees. And this year in March or February, we opened 2 offices for NEDI. One in the Lower River region, covering North Bank and LRR, and one in Basel to cover URR and CRR. And these offices are meant to ensure that business coaching, business mentorship is accessible to young people in the provincial area. With regards to the National Youth Service Scheme, you all have seen the emergence in style of the National Youth Service Scheme. And this year, we have recruited 200 young people, which is the first time in the last 15 years of the program to support that number of people. And in addition, these 200 young people have gone through the orientation, completed, and they're going to be into different institutions of their choice based on the choice of skill they want to study. And the ministry is going to pay their tuition fees for the entire 2 years, as well as be giving a monthly stipend until they complete their 24-month program. And that tuition, that stipend is meant to support their transport. And then last year, His Excellency, President Adama Barrow, in this very event, it is Bakary Badjie, launched for the first time the National Youth Service Graduate Program that target university graduates and put them on an internship of one year and giving a stipend of $5,000 per month until when they finish the 1 year, and we hope that they'll be able to learn to get employment as they go. And this is part of our program to support young people of the country to be employable or to gain employment in different institutions. The President International Award, which is called the PIA, has a skill center in Bakau and doing quite a number of work in terms of training young people in multiple skills, in tailoring, in carpentry, in welding, and all kind of skills that the young people need. And once they graduate, they support them with internship. And that program is generally part of our skills development program. But in addition to the skills development, the PIA continues to run what used to be called the award scheme. And the award scheme is a school and community-based youth activities that support young people, empower them with skills, help them to get training as we prepare them for leadership role in the future. So ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the activities that we're doing in all the sectors, in the youth sector and in the sports sector. And I want to conclude with the Gambia Shanghai Initiative, which is called GSI. This is the ministry's Agri Training Institute in Chairman in the North Bank region. And at every given time, you have close between 50 and 70 young people who are accommodated at the center and trained on different kind of agricultural skills. And currently, we have a batch that started in January of this year, and they're supposed to end in December, totaling about 50 young people. And each of these young people, for the entire 12 months that they are based at the training camp, the ministry, the government takes care of their full accommodation, their feeding, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and their medical bills, as well as a monthly stipend, and help them to train on agriculture for 12 months. And once they graduate, we work with our partners, the Ministry of Agriculture, UNDP, to give them some support to start up something. So all of these are probably not very exhaustive, but in summary, Honorable Minister, these are some of the things that I wanted to share with the audience in terms of our intervention in the last years. And then, this year I was going to end. But let me say this, though. There's one part also that I'm missing out, and that is our young people in the creative sector. We are not the Ministry of Arts and Culture, but the Ministry of Youth and Sports is the go-to place for young people who are doing a lot in the art sector, musicians, entertainers, and occasionally when they have events, they come to us and seek for support. And we have a separate list of that support that we're giving. And some of the key supports include paying the venues for their musical events for them, and others would include be serving as a sponsor in giving them cash amounts or buying the tickets and giving it to people to support. And the numbers are many. So this is where I want to stop in English, and like I'm advised to say something in the local language. I'm not sure which one I can, but maybe Wolof probably. Si gàttal rek li ñu doon wax rek mooy bëgg nañ trop pour ñëw fi tey parce que Ministry of Youth and Sports ñoo xewle, and kontaan nañ ñëpp kontaan nañ pour gis fi ñëpp tamit suñ ministres yi, permanent secretary ak DPS yi ak suñ partners si nga xam ne ñoom la ñoo liggéeyal ci ministre bi seen liggéey ci wàllum ndaw ñi ak ci wàllum tàggat yaram yi tamit. So ci ci gàttal daal liñ fi wax mooy ministre bii nga xam ne ni moo la nguur gi sas yi fi ndaw ñi ak yi fi tàggat yaram am na yu bari liggéey yu bari yoo xam ne ni moom la ñoo def te ci liggéey yooyu am na si yoo xam ne ñun ñoo ko defal suñ bopp nekk ci ministre bi, am na ci yoo xam ne am na ci ay bunta yi nga xam ne ni mu ngi ci suñ ron lu mel ni National Youth Council, National Sport Council, NEDI, PIA muy President Award Scheme, wala NYSS wala Stadium, juróom benni départements yëpp ci ron ministre bi la nekk te benn bu nekk am na lu moo def. So am na ci yoo xam ne ñun ñoo koo def, am na ci yoo xam ne ñoom ñoo koo def. waaye ci gàttal boo ñëwee ci wàllum tàggat yaram mooy sports, ministre bi liggéeyam du pour dem defi sport bi ci boppam wala pour dem liggéey, waaye liñ man mooy pour defal luwaay yi nga xam ne nii moom la ñëpp war a sukkandiku pour def seen liggéey mu rafet, wala ñu lijjanti xaalis bi nga xam ne moom la ñoo jox institutions yi nga xam ne ni ñoo nekk si suñu ron muy National Sport Council yi tamit jël xaalis boobu jox ko ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo nekk association si pour ñu mën a def li ñoo def waaye li si gën a bari mooy support bi nga xam ne moom la ñoo jox association si nga xam ne am nañ events competitions yi nga xam ne xëccoo yi nga xam ne ñu ngi ko def ci biti ndax ci Afrique la wala ci yeneen réew tubaab te ministre bi am ci taxawaay pour gis ne dimbale nañ leen ci xaalis pour ñu mën a dem te li tax nag ñu war see kontaan mooy time booba noonu dañ daan wax ne nguur gi wala sport bi ci réew mi yëpp mooy sport football waaye ñun mën nañoo wax ne tey wala ci at yi passé si roon nguur gi président Adama Barrow kenn du wax ne sport rek football rek la ñoo toppatoo parce que luy football luy basketball luy volleyball luy athletics wala judo wala taekwondo wala handball yëpp wrestling bëre yëpp ñu ngi leen di jàppale pour gis ne taxaw nañ taxaw bi nga xam ne ni bu dëgër la pour mun a doole ndaw ñi nga xam ne ñoom dañ tànn tàggat yaram mu nekk loo xam ne ni mooy seen métier te joxe naa numbers yi nga xam ne ni moom lañ nekk di support ci wàllum football ak yeneen yi nga xam ne moom la ñoo def waaye tamit am na ci ay ndaw yi nga xam ne ni xëj na sport du seen liggéey wala amuñ ci interest bu bari waaye ñoom bëgg nañoo def business nguur gi jaral na ci ministry bi pour gis ne jàppale ndaw yooyu nga xam ne am nañ xalaat pour taxawal seen business yi bopp wala sax am nañ business bi nga xam ne ni ñu ngi ko taxawal waaye amuñ ndimbal nguur gi ñëw taxawal li nga xam ne ni mooy Youth Enterprise Fund ñuy jox at bu nekk ñu am ay ndaw yi nga xam ne ñooñu la ñoo tànn jox leen xaalis tuuti pour ñu jàppale leen si seen business te ren ci weeru mai joxe nañ lu tollu 1,450,000 daaw joxe nañ lu tollu 2 millions at bii passé war a yooyu yëpp am na si yoo xam ne at bu nekk dinañ am li nga xam ne ñoo ngi leen jox loolu bokkut ak lu net yi di def ci at bi pour jàppale yenn ndaw yoo xam ne ni xëy na si yeneen projet si AOM la ñoo xam ne ñu ngi jógee backway ñu dellusiwaat ci réew mi ñu support leen jox leen xaalis pour ñu mën a taxawal seen business waaye tamit ñi nga xam ne ñooy National Youth Service Scheme ñu bari ko xamee ko NYSS talaata bi passé rek gisoon nañ vice président di réew mi mu jël ñi nga xam ne ni ndaw yooyu nga xam ne ñoom ñoo jeexal seen orientation jàll leen tàggat pour ñu mën a dem door seen li nga xam ne mooy seen njàng te njàng boobu noonu ñu ngi ko war a def si ñaari at te si ñaari at yooyu noonu de ñaari téeméeri ndaw yooyu yëpp nguur gi ñoo leen di fayal seen tuition fee mooy institution si ñoo laajte ak tamit weer bu nekk dinañ jox paas bi nga xam ne ni xaalis bi nga xam ne moom la ñoo def paas pour mun a dem jëm jàngi ñëwaat ak yeneen yoo xam ne ñu ngi ko def ci wàllum agriculture ci suñ projet bi nekk Thiamène ak yeneen place tamit National Youth Council ñu ngi def programme si bari nga xam ne ni mooy jàppale ndaw yi nga xam ne ñu ngi lëngu si yëfi advocacy si yëfi environment ak yeneen te ci wàllum infrastructure ci suñ support bi am nañ Farafenni Youth Center bi nga xam ne nii bu yàggul liggéey bi pare na te ñu ngi yaakaar ne weer bi ñëw dinañ ko ubbi pour jox ko ndawi North Bank yi ndawi CRR yi pour mu nekk centre bi nga xam ne ni foofu la ñoo dem pour seen meeting si ak yeneen so si gàttal rek lii mooy li ma bëggoon a joxe rek ci wàllum angale ak ci wàllum wolof xam naa ci biir waxtaan bi xëy na dinañ dugal ci soos tuuti ak séeréer waaw jërëjëf.
jërëjëf honorable minister Bakary Badjie foog naa fu mu toll ni mbir bi leer na mooy seen taxawaay si li nga xam ne mooy mbiri tàggat yaram ak si mbiri defar ndaw yi pour ñu mën a njëriñ seen boppam njëriñ réew mi laal nga si bépp fànn nag fànn yëpp nga laal si mbiri tàggat yaram mbiri jàppale xale yi pour ñu nekk si business si mbiri jàppale leen si yu bari foog naa te moom leer na moo tax ñu bëgg a fas ngi waxtaan yi nii léegi su ko defee léegi duñ def dara lu dul ana Haruna su mu ne am documentary 5 minutes after ñu am teamam bi ñu introduce seen bopp wax ñu ñoom lan mooy seen liggéey then su ko defee ñu ibbi line si ñu mën a start question and answer jërëjëf.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports is responsible for youth affairs and sports development. When I say youth affairs, is by creating the conducive environment for the young people, empowering them, and providing the necessary skills for them to contribute to the socio-economic development of this country. For sports development, we promote, encourage, and support sports in this country, both locally and internationally.
The importance we attach to accessibility is one of the fundamental reasons we give priority to the regional infrastructural development, which aim at enhancing accessibility, particularly with regards to gender, people with disability, as outlined in the National Development Plan.
In order to achieve our objectives with regards to sports and youth empowerment, this ministry has some satellite institutions.
The National Sports Council plays a very vital role in the development of sports in the Gambia. And as part of its role, among other things, is to give advice to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports on matters relating to sports.
Operating widely in the informal sector, NEDI was established to empower youth and women who are interested in establishing businesses through access to business advisory services, skills development, and training to build management capacity, market intelligence, financing, and support in accessing market.
The National Youth Council was established by an act of the National Assembly in the year 2000. This was at the request certainly of young people that they wanted to have a council. Our primary function, as a council is to represent the views and aspirations of young people and communicate this to the level of government and of course partners, but equally also communicate government plans and programs at the level of young people or to young people.
Presently, our attention and focus has been this infrastructural development, particularly on the sports. We are building mini stadiums. Some of them we've already completed the first phase.
Once the ongoing ones are completed, we have a plan to make sure that each and every region in the Gambia or community will benefit from our infrastructural development.
There's a lot of success stories in different sectors.
Today, this is my source of income. You have to know what you want to do, have the passion of what you want to do, never mind what people have to say about you, if you know the business is going to push you to another level.
If you want something, you have to be strategic in how you want to get that. There are funds available for young people, but how strategic are you to get those funds? You have to be innovative. You have to bring something on the table. Don't wait for government to give you money before you start. Start something, show them. Like if they see that you have something on the table, then you will get finance. And I'm sure there are many finances available for young people.
We need to take the challenge and maybe start it, from the grassroots. But I believe any youth that start this project, the government will recognize you and they will support you on top of it. Most of our businesses are being controlled by foreigners. So we, the youths, must stay and build our country for ourselves.
There's a lot of success stories. We support young people in different sectors. We are mandated to serve every young person of this country, and there's a lot of opportunities. Young people just have to go out there and be part of it and be part of the development of this country.
We need to nurture peace, particularly the young people. All what is happening right now from the ministries, all what is being done is for the young people because we are cognizant of their presence and their numbers. So to have a brighter future, it is the young people that the government definitely works for. The sports sector is here for the young people.
As young people, let's find ways and means of ensuring that we leverage on the opportunities that government and other partners are availing to us to be able to really uplift our lives to the next level. But again, also, we have a key role to play in the maintenance of peace and security in this country. There cannot be any meaningful or sustained development in any country where there is no peace and security. And the fact that young people, we account for the majority of this country's population, it's important that we play a key role in the maintenance of peace and security. to ensure that the development aspirations of government are met and of course are sustained for posterity.
These are all efforts aimed at addressing the issues of young people, as has been a serious concern, and government remain committed to the development of youth and sport in this country.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports will not relent, will make sure that we continue to provide the needed support to the young people, and by empowering them, supporting them in their various fields and also sports development in the country. But we also like to encourage young people to be law-abiding citizens. The country is ours. It cannot be built by outsiders, but we as Gambians, we should be very nationalistic and make sure we contribute effectively to the advancement and development of this country as Gambians.
This is brought to you by the Ministry of Information as part of its public consultation and popularization of the government's agendas.
Round of applause there. Thank you very much to the team that developed this content. Thank you very much. Now we'll give the Honorable Minister's team each 2 minutes to briefly tell us their names, designation, the agency or the satellite institution they work for, and the mandate of this institution. Just briefly, in English, 2 minutes, and 1 minute in the local language. So I'll give you 3 minutes each. We'll start with Alaji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for information. Dr. Sise, good evening to each and every one of you here present. My name is Mr. Alaji Jaju, the Executive Director of the Gambia National Youth Council. The National Youth Council was established in the year 2000 by an act of the National Assembly, and of course assented to by His Excellency the President in May of the same year. Our responsibility as a council is to organize and coordinate the participation of young people in national development processes. We are also, as a council, mandated by the Act to ensure we relate to young people government policies and programs, but also provide an avenue for young people to be able to relate their aspirations to government, ensuring that every document, policy or program that has a bearing on young people has the views and aspirations of young people reflected in it, and not just individuals sitting in their offices and assuming that this is what young people want. But whatever is for youth, young people's views and aspirations are reflected, and this is the opportunity that we provide as a council to young people, and of course by extension to government. Sigata, man maa ngi tudda Alaji Jaju, man maay Executive Director bu National Youth Council. National Youth Council nag nguur moo ko taxawal si atum 2000 si téere boo xam ne néegi député yi ñoo ko saytu d'accord si kàddu président bi fi toogoon si waxtu boobu sign ko si May of the same year si la National Youth Council juddu. ñun lu ñu santa mooy gis ne ndaw ñi ndawi Gambia lépp loo xam ne nguur amal nañ dañ ko ñu make sure ne ndaw ñi jot nañ si, waaye tamit loo xam ne mooy mbébéti ndaw yi Gambia ñu gis ne jotal nañ ko nguur. lépp loo xam ne nguur moom lay doxal o moom la buggal ndaw yi réew mi ñu gis ne ndaw yi réew mi am nañ si kàddu wala seen kàddu àgg na si lépp loo xam ne daal mun la nguur amal si ndaw ñi rek ndaw ñi seen kàddu war na see feeñ. so lii moo tax nguur taxawal ñu atum 2000 si te si lii lañ nekk di dox at boobu ba tey. Thank you, Doctor.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you for having us. My name is Ndeye Marinjai, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Youth and Sports. in charge as the administrative head of the ministry. And to do that, we have our management team supported by the Deputy Permanent Secretaries, PASs, SASs. To achieve our objectives, we have 6 satellite institutions, and they have been highlighted by the Honorable Minister. And we have another initiative in Chairman as highlighted by Minister. Each of these satellite institutions, they have their various mandates, all geared towards youth empowerment and sports development. So I don't need to reiterate what Minister has highlighted because he has clearly indicated the responsibilities of the satellite institutions. And Sigatal, Honorable Minister, Mangi Tudande Marinjai, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Youth and Sports, as the administrative head of the ministry. Pour achieve suñu objectif si am nañ suñu Deputy Permanent Secretary si PASC si pour ñu jàppale ñu. Ba pare am nañ tamit 6 satellite institutions ak benn initiative bu nekk Chairman. Ñoom ñëpp ku ci nekk am nga sa responsibility loo war a def pour jàppa si. Naka yëpp njëmale ko si jëm kanami ndaw yi ak sports ni moo demee kanam si réew mi. So comme ni ma ko waxee rek ministre waxoon na ko ba mu leer fii duma si bamtuwaat ba pare am nañ satellite head si fam tam if need be dinañ dem in depth of their responsibilities. Thank you.
Jërëjëf Ma'am Lisa.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ma'am Lisa Kamara. I am the General Manager of the National Enterprise Development Initiative, NEDI. NEDI was established by the government of the Gambia in 2004 and enacted by Parliament in 2013 as part of its strategic endeavors to empower youth and women of the Gambia. The main purpose of NEDI is to empower Gambian youth through enterprise development as means of sustainable development, creation, and better livelihood. NEDI conducts basic business skills, competencies, and provides microfunding for youth and women to create small and medium businesses in both the formal and informal sectors, as well as provide business advisory to ensure business sustainability. The investment in youth and women sectors is as a result of the need to create jobs for Gambian youth and women to ensure availability, accessibility, and affordability of basic commodities in the Gambia and creating meaningful employment to the target group. Si gàttal li ma bëgg a wax mooy man Lisa Camara laa tudda man maa jiite National Enterprise Development Initiative di institution boo xam ne mu ngi under mu ci ron National Ministry of Youth and Sport ñu ngi ko taxawal pour jàppale jigéen ñi ak ndaw ñi ci wàllum business ak jinaka jaay li gën a fës si liñ dee def mooy dañ dee jàngal jigéen ñi ak ndaw ñi nu ñoo ronee seen business yi wala nu ñoo doxalee seen business yi ba gis ne seen business yi taxaw na te ñu ko doxal nuñ ko war a doxalee ba duñ lose wala dinañ si am profit nu mu war a demee jërëjëf.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for this invitation. My name is Mahmoud Lamin Jawla. I am the Acting Executive Director of the National Sports Council. The National Sports Council is or was established by an Act of Parliament in year 2000, and it is responsible of promoting, coordinating, and the supervision of activities of national associations and federations. We also supervise the programs and activities of these associations. As part of our functions, like I said in the recordings there, that we provide advice to the Honorable Minister on matters relating to sports. We also ensure that associations conform with the rules and regulations of their international federations, as well as the rules and regulations in our country. Bakary man may Mahmoud Lamin Jawla, man may Deputy Acting Executive Director of the National Sports Council. National Sports Council government moko indi si Gambia in 2000 pour ñu seetu si wàllu football wala si wàllu sport mooy tàggat yaram si seen liggéey nag bokk na si di seentu naka la association si di doxale ba pare dañu war a tam di register association si nga xam ne ñu ngi seentu si wàllu sport wala tàggat yaram jërë ngeen jëf.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Jawla. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Bakary Badjie and your team. It's now time for us to open the floor for discussions, but before that, I'd like to just run through a few key important points and also some rules of engagement. Basically, the questions will revolve based on the key thematic areas, and those key thematic areas are: one, sports. That's why we have the National Sports Council representative here. So all questions relating to sports, the minister can answer, but if he so wishes, he can delegate the person responsible for sports to answer it. The other thematic area has to do with youth skills development. I think that's what NEDI is doing. The minister can answer that question or delegate their Lisa from NEDI to answer that, but also entrepreneurship as well. So that's sports, skills development, entrepreneurship, youth empowerment, but also the administrative bit of how the sector is run, and that's why the PS comes in. So direct questions, you can direct questions to the minister himself, who can delegate, or you can direct questions to the responsible person responsible to answer your question. Now, each person has only one question. Not two, not three. You are only given one question to ask, and make your questions brief. We'll take 3 questions at a time. So we'll take 3 questions on the floor, come back to our participants to answer those questions, and we'll come back again. And that's how we'll do it. Coming from Bading Olong Kosani, ngama liro frata tongotole, mintu dasa olong kacaya daya muta. Kacadung abita fanna saballa fanna kilongolon ko ministre ni fami ron kanyamelo administrative bitti o PS bidana ba ansala bari ministre fanasa ansano fulanya ngolon kaje ko balabonyo abetama kanyameng mim bota sports council bidanne sabanya ngolon ko kaje ko funding kil fangola nyato tayla yurowa ke dima pour que la londo lafa anin kaje ko fanan miyalon ko be entrepreneurship wala wafiro anin business o e bombe bunda fanan na ike de manya may mamli sabide ne kaw fanan ansa ngomo dong nyinin kar killing mbole dilela pour nyinin karo ka nyinin karo dong kana jam fanni bak ngaw ser ba watu maro saje momo bijang bi inin fensitano so kono mbe nyinin ka sabatala folo kafo bulu nim parta ngana miliyalon ko wala lun tambalti jang wolya ansa jabiro ke ngomborum kotenke mbe wala kala fongaje ko programme ñi nga kumfa mbokay di jaajefal ñi nga xamne te ñoo fi ñew te suñu gan yu magi di wane fum tolu ni dal aga nañ pour ñu mëna jékali li nga xam mom lañ tamali di wane nak ku nekk la jox ben laaj nga mëna def ben laaj rek nga mëna laajte su ko defee ñëpp mën a am chance pour laajte ñi nga xam ne moom la ñoo bëgg a laajte fii tey nañ jël ñetti laajte si crowd bi suñ paree ñu ñëw si suñ gani joxe seen tontu di wane si laajte nag si ñetti fan la war a nekka mun na ko ëppa nag waa man mooy suma gis-gis mooy benn bi mooy naka la ñoo doxalee ministre bi mooy administratif boobu yaa penda mu ngi fi mooy PS bi moom mën nañoo jàppale waaye ministre tamit mun naa answer question boobu noonu beneen bi mooy tàggat yaram bi sports ki jóge National Sports Council mu beneen bi mooy naka la ñu jàppalee ndaw yi pour ñu gis ne si luñ bugg a nekk ñu def ko mooy jënd ak jaay bi ak business ak skills development ki jógee ne itam mu ngi fi kon ñu ibi line si léegi ñu commencé ku bugga rek da nga écrit sa loxo am na ñuy ñëw round ak mic si so kon moo ko wéree benn laajte na gata su boobaa ñëpp mën a am chance pour laajte jërëjëf
bismillah salaamaaleykum maa ngi nuyu ñëpp man maa ngi tudd Modou Lamine Diouf di liggéey Hilltop FM ak QTV suma laajte bi mooy si lu jëm ci wàllub ndaw ñi honorable minister bëggoon naa xam because dégguma ko si sa biir wax waaye gis naa ne ndaw ñi ñu ngi jëfandikoo yooni ginnaaw pour dem backway ñaareel bi tam wàllub cinébar mooy drogue si gis nañ ko léegi dafa bari ci réew mi trop te ndaw ñi ñoo si gën a involve bëggoon naa xam yan pexe moom la sa ministre bi am moo xam liggéey ak yeneen ministre yi because ba léegi Gambia amut rehabilitation center ñëpp dañ leen di yóbbu tànka lan moo nekk pexe yi nga xamante ne sa ministre yi am na ko jërëjëf.
ok jërëjëf maa ngi tudd Amath Kebe jóge ko Paradise ñu jaajëf jëwriñ gi ci kàddu yi nga xam ne jël na ko gaara dinaa ñëw ci wàllum tàggat yaram dañ gis lim wax ci wàllum tabax li ci gën a bëri dafa aju ci wàllum football volleyball ak basket ñu gis li nga xam ne moo nekk bëri fi mu toll nii am na ak yokkute bu mag boo xam ne am na ko ban fexe la am ci li nga xam ne moo nekk wàllum bëri ci wàllum tabax ak yeneen yu ñu mel.
Good evening, everybody. I am Awada Costa from the University of the Gambia. Looking at representation, inclusivity, and addressing issues that affect young people, what is the ministry doing to increase and encourage the involvement of young people in decision-making, especially on matters that affect them, seeing that they are at the forefront right? Yeah.
Thank you. We'll now come back to our guests to give them the opportunity to answer these very important questions. Honorable Minister, it's yours.
Thank you. Laajte bi mu ngi ko laajte si wolof so am na mën nañ koo tontu ci wolof rek waaye xanaa man tuuti laajte wax dina jox Alaaji Jaaju nga xam ne ni moom moo nekk suñ representative ci migration committee bi ak i tamit programme si nga xam ne moom la ñu amee ci wàllum ndaw ñi ci youth council bi la nekk waaye of course soo gisee waxuñ ci parce que focus bi mooy li nga xam ne nii loolu lañ jot a liggéey now migration am na ci activité yoo xam ne mën nañu am comme li ma wax ñi nga xam ne nii ñu ngi ci fi ndaw business wala ndaw yi nga xam ne nii jógee nañ ci yooni gannaaw bi ñu del si waat dinañ leen dee tàggat maanaam train ba pare it am na si ñoo xam ne ñu ngi leen di jàppale pour ñu taxawal seen business so loolu mooy li nga xam ne nii moom lañ jot a def waaye lii tax pour duñ bàyyi Gambia pour géem a dem ci biti loolu mooy preventive measures yi so programme si ñoo def ci wàllum NYSS benn ci yooyu la pour gis ne ndaw ñi am na si luñ nekk loo xam ne dinañ am yaakaar ne dinaa am métier dinaa am liggéey training bi ma wax ne moom la ñoo def ci wàllum mbéy mi muy càmmen ci loolu la bokka PIA seen programme bi nga xam ne moom la ñoo def pour tàggat ndaw ñi pour ñu gis ne am nañ métier ci ñaari at yi nga xam ne moom la ñoo nekk si institution si yépp pour gis ne ndaw ñi am nañ yaakaar am nañ métier even sports lii tax tey boo gisee nit ki bàyyi réewam di génn si biir dafa fekk xëy na amatul yaakaar ci réewam waaye bu fekkente ne nit ki tànn na ne man tàggat yaram moo nekk li ma bëgg a def te nga gis ne réew mi nguur gi ñu ngay jàppale ndaw yi nga xam ne nii am nañ interest ci sport kon war ngaa mën a am ne bu ma nekkee sport person xëy na mun naa nekk dem ba toolu ni bërikat bi nga xam ne nii am na opportunité pour dem bëri ci biti wala dawkat bi nga xam ne mu ngi daw ci biti ñu ko am liñ koo jox ak yeneen loolu mooy programme si nga xam ne moom lañ teg waaye of course mënuñoo tëj bunte yëpp ba tax na ni ndaw ñi duñ dem parce que xëy na am na si ñoo xam ne ni sax ñu ngi liggéey ci police wala teaching ñu bàyyi ko ñu dem parce que ñoom xoolatuñ liggéey bi ñoom leneen lañ nekk di séntu lu uteeg li nga xam ne ni moo nekk ci biir réew mi so waaye comme na ko waxee Alaaji na tontu ci loolu ci wàllum drogue yi nag xam nga nguur yi tamit dafa am nu mu de doxee tey si biir réew mi ni ñoo doxalee suñu wàllum yi fi drogue yeeg yooyu dëgg la ñu ko gën a jëfandikoo ndaw lañ waaye response bi is from a health ak law perspective mooy ñi nga xam ne nii ñooy wàllum wér-gu-yaram bi ak li nga xam ne ni mooy loi bi waaw ci wàllum ndaw ñi nag amaguñ ci any programme bi nga xam ne moom la ñu wax ne bii lañ nekk di def pour fanxa ndaw ñi buñ dugg ci fi drogue lu mooy di leen sensitize tàggat wax leen ne lii baaxut which some of them yaakaar nañ xam nañ ko waaye programmes yooyu mu ngi fa te through the National Youth Council ñu ngi def programmes yu bari fii ba ci dex gi pour gën a ndaw ñi ne drogue du li nga xam ne nii lu am njëriñ la daf leen di yaaxal waaye nag dinaa jox tuuti rek alaaji su ko defee moom mu mën a tontu ci boor yooyu parce que moo si di gën a liggéey.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Finance laajte bi am na solo lool ndax lañ ñàkk di def si wàllum backway gis nañ suñ doomi réew mi ndaw ñu bëri ñoo xam ne recently ñu ngi fay jógee di dem backway ñu bëri ñàkk nañ si seen bakkan ñun nag as a council fanaa for the past xëy na passé na fukki at ak dara ñu ngi see yëngu lu ñu si dee gën a def mooy fanaa xëy na su ma demut every village in this country waaye constituency bu nekk réew mi biir Gambia fanaa taxaw naa fas ma tànk pour rek waxtaan ak ndaw ñi di leen wax lan mooy dangers suñu waree dem si yooni backway yan coono yan torox moo ne yan toroxtaangee nekk si yoon bi waaye duñ fay em rek dinañ leen tamit di leen woon ay vidéo ay film ñoo xam ne dem nañ backway yan coono lañ fa jëlee waaye tamit even ndaw ñoo xam ne dem nañ backway dellu si ñu dañ leen di mën a use as ambassadors ñoom seen boppa xëy na man su ma ñëwee taxawee su ma sut ak taay wax ak ñoom dañu fa ne xëy na nguur ma yónni su ma weer bu dee laay def waaye dañ dee mën a ànd ak ñoo xam ne dem nañ backway dellu si waat ñooñu seen boppa dem waxtaan ak ñoom wax leen lan lañ jànkuwanteel si yooni backway ba dellu si waat waaye gannaaw loolu tamit dañ leen dee mën a wax nit ki doo ko ne toogal rek am foofu noonu dañ leen dee mën a wax tamit yan programme ñoo nekk si biir réew mi fii yoo xam ne suñ ko jëfandikoo ñoom i ndaw danañ si mën a am njëriñ gis ci seen boppa mu jox leen xëy ba dina tax ba duñ mën a jublu si wàllum backway lii def nañ ko comme ni ma ko waxee su ma demut si every dëkk bii nii indi Gambia waaye every constituency si dëkk bii biir Gambia taxaw nañ fa di wax ndaw ñi amuñ rek si dem directly waaye ay radio programme ay TV programme online yëpp taxaw nañ make sure ne ndaw ñi am nañ xibaar bu ñu war a am fooguma di nga gis benn ndaw boo xam ne dem na backway mu ne la ne man xaw ma ne yoon bi métti na wala mosuma dégg ne yoon bi texa bari nañ si yoon bi koo si wax rek dafa la de mën a wax ne waaw naam dégg naa ne yoon bi métti na waaye moom moo bëgg a jóg dem moo tax mu dem waaye du ne jotul xibaar ne yoon bi dafa métti waaye comme ni ma ko waxee rek dañ leen de mën a xibaar ne yoon bi métti na waaye tamit lan moo am biir Gambia loo xam ne mën nañ ko jëfandikoo ba toog biir réew mi mu njëriñ leen ñu dee dellu si tamit duñ leen dee bàyyi dañ leen dee mën a jaaral si li ñoo réintégration naka lañ leen a jàppale ba nga gis ne coono buñ daj si yoonu backway ñu dimbale lañ ba nga gis ne dellu si nañ dalal seen xel yi ñu mën a delluwaat baax si seen communauté dëkk ak ñoom waaye tamit IOM tam ak nguur dañ leen dee mën a dimbale si wàllum réintégration laaj leen lan lañ bëgg a def pour ñu jàppale leen nga gis ne suñ ko defee dinañ mën a toog si réew mi waaye tamit mu jëriñ leen du ne rek dañoo toog so apart from sensitization ñuy ñëw tamit dañ leen di mën a jàppale reintegrate leen back into society si wàllum drogue comme ni ko ministre waxee fana at the level of Ministry of Health especially bu wàllum couche bi dooree taxawaloon nañ task force ñun as a council representing the ministry bokk nañ ci task force bi te fana toog nañu radio mbaa télé oote nañ ay meeting di sensitiser ndaw ñi di leen wax ne comme yan façon ngi danger waaye yan façon ngi toroxtaande lañ mën a am si jëfandikoo drogue muy couche muy any other drogue fanaa lii def nañ ko si through the task force waaye génn ñun ñoo drug law enforcement agency organise seen sensitisation yu bëri yoo xam ne ñu ngi koy jëmale si wàllum ndaw ñi pour gis ne rek ñu génne leen si lépp loo xam ne is related to drogue.
fin bi mu ne pour bore bi ndax da ngeen am physical structure boo leen plan pour biir pour bore bi sorry.
ok jërëjëf si sa laajte boobu foog naa ne soo bàyyee xel in 2023 the Gambia Wrestling Association ak EU ñu ngi sign benn MOU bi nga xam ne EU daf leen a dimbali pour ñu sampa ay arène si region si Tànjeeb si la bokka am nañ KM tam ñu ngi war a am benn boori Buufa zone nga am Janjanbureh ak yeneen oda place yi nga xam ne ñu ngi si biir Gambia ñooñu ñu ngi leen jagaral specifically pour bëre pour traditional wrestling bi loolu yooyu ñooy nekk arène yi xaw ma ndax Caam mu ngi fi moom dina si mun a leeral lu bëri mooy président yi wrestling waaye tam soo xoolee ministère yu nekk di sampa fu mu nekk nii suñ buggee def di Roman Grigo style mi nga xam ne boobu lañ dee def si Olympics yi mun nañ koo def foofu noonu because boobu jarut suuf jarut indi loo xam ne danga ko lal pour mbër yi bañ a gaañu danga am sa kapet boo xam ne danga koo indi fix ko gars yi def seen Roman Grigo style bi mooy bëre boo xam ne boobu lañ dee def Olympics waaye bu dee suñ traditional wrestling bi la comme ni ma ko waxee rek EU sign na MOU boobu ak wrestling te commencé nañ arène yu bëri fence nañ yu bëri si arène yooyu noonu ba ñu demoon sax def handing over yàggut noonu xaw ma ndax yëg nga loolu waaye Caam mu ngi fii bu dee oh no okay all right okay so pour tontu la rek waaw.
All right, thank you. The final question from Madam Da Costa, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Madam Da Costa asked a question in terms of how are we ensuring that young people participate in decision-making processes, if I get the question right. Yes, I think as I said in the introduction, the formation of the council is ensuring that young people participate in decision-making processes. And I think at our level as a council, we've ensured that we represent young people in most, at the level of most project committees or in most boards, or we represent young people at that level. But we've also ensured that whatever ministries are doing that has a bearing on young people are part and parcel of those discussions. When they go into communities, we have our regional youth committees, we have our youth groups, and they help to organize sessions for those institutions of those departments, and so young people's views are reflected. Recently, we had the Minister of Local Government that is working on the land policy. At our level as a council, we have helped coordinate to ensure young people participate in those processes throughout the country. During the security sector reform, again, we have ensured that young people's views and aspirations are reflected. When we are developing the national, the youth bill or the other bills, the NYSS or the PIA bills, again, we have ensured that we've gone down the entire length and breadth of this country, ensuring that young people are part and parcel of these processes. And when we say young people, we ensure that no one is left behind. That is those in school, those out of school, the female youth, the differently able. We ensure that every cohort of young people is represented. So we have done our bit ensuring. The challenge is you cannot get everyone on the table, and that is why we ensure that we segregate these, ensuring that the young female is represented, those in school, those out of school are all represented. So this we have done at various levels in various forums, and as I said, I've given a few of those examples. Again, our youth groups, we have helping enhance their capacities of the various youth groups. We have our Children National Assembly that is also ensuring that the views of children are captured and they are provided capacity at that level even before coming up to be young people. So I think these are various activities that we have been doing to ensure we enhance youth participation in national development processes.
Thank you. Next set of questions. Why is
Yes, good evening everyone. I am Ibrahim Toure, the Sports Minister, University of the Gambia. Actually, Honorable Minister, I must admit that you have been amazing in responding to our calls at the University of the Gambia, especially Sports Ministry, which I'm currently overseeing. Actually, your assistant has made an immense impact on the development of UTG sports. Thus far, we are vividly appreciated. However, there are students which, with the fondest of dreams to pursue sports administration as a career, would you look to this and make these dreams come fruition for our students, since it's aligned with your vision of promoting sports and building the capacity of young people in this, our great country? So actually, we want to know what are the mechanisms that you actually want to help us with this particular issue. Thank you.
So the question is, there are young people who are interested in pursuing sports as a career. There is no sports science degree at the university, I presume. There is none. Okay, the minister will answer that. Next, please.
Okay, good evening. I'm Harry Prisvay. I'm a training journalist. I have a question for Honorable Minister. In your statement, you said that maybe next week or this month, the stadium will be ready. And can you please specify, give us a date? Or after spending over 285 million for renovation of the stadium, the first renovation, why was not it approved by FIFA? Those are my questions.
I think you wanted to say by CAF, huh? Not FIFA. Thank you. Final set of question, and we'll come back later.
Assalamu alaikum. Everybody is involved in this, you know. So, I'm from Gambia Basketball Association. Well, because Naja Minister be more can assign in terms of sport development. But na problem right now, Allah for na sport janjang sate beto, which is very important. But Naja ko ebe stadium lokang dulal beto regional, but ibuka sport dol involved, which women tell a worry because Naja ko nila for development na for your sport dol be at nyola football tournament Gambia jang. We have other sports as well, which is very important. They are doing tremendous right now because you're spending too much on football. Why not you chance the sport dollar? At least you can medal na feel, like a goal na feel, you know. Alia try, alia sport doll fana, but not Daniel. Minimum promote, minimum sport doll add Allah development infrastructure in Kono. Thank you.
I think honorable your question of Makumada Bake. I mean for ko ale investment binke in football. The result jakana because ngaje ko nyilungol kono. At least we have a Gambian Melanka play Premier League. One of the, in fact, I can say one of the best league in the world. One of the best teams, Brighton, and he scored for Brighton in the weekend. That's an example. We want to see a Gambian playing in the NBA. Ita muna re manta play NBA. All right, all right.
All right, so for the first thing, my fellow minister of sports from the university, thank you for that compliment. No, actually we're in the process, let me put it that way. We've worked with the University of the Gambia. We've had several meetings to start the sport management course at the university. And really, this year was our intended year because everything was done, the curriculum was developed, and agreement was reached. In fact, there was a budget from the university as to what they need to be able to start the first year. And they wanted support from us to be able to do, and we were ready to do that. The only problem was space. And they wanted us to allow them to settle at the Faraba campus, and then they will be able to find good classes for the sport management because they didn't want to take students and then struggle with space. So at the moment, at our own level, we are ready. We're holding on to the university management to complete. Maybe you can help us push from that level. All right? So yeah, so that's it, because we know a lot of people are interested. And it's for your own interest because you have a lot of people today that are teaching PE, for instance, or sports science, but they did not study. They just probably look at the youngest in the teaching and say, yo, I make a PE teacher. You know, we want the one to be not the youngest, but the one that is trained to understand how to run that. The renovation, why was it not approved? You see, there is a misconception that we have tried to explain to people, and it seems that people don't still understand. There has never been an instance where CAF came here and disapproved the stadium. It didn't happen. And I've said this in the radio, we've said about it. When CAF visited, we said it was a preliminary visit. And it was at our invitation, on the advice of the Federation, to invite CAF to come and look at what our plans were for the stadium, and advise on whether it is good enough to meet the CAF requirement. And when the SIDAD came here, he did not come to decide whether the stadium can be approved or not. We didn't invite him for that. He came to help, and he was supposed to come at the beginning of the project. But sometimes when you invite international organizations, it takes time. So when they came here in August of last year, it was a preliminary inspection to look at the plans in place and advise. And his advice was, what we intended to do in the first phase is not adequate enough to meet CAF standards. And he said we must expand, and he identified additional areas that we needed to do. Those areas were already in the plan. And at the beginning of the project, we did explain that the stadium is going to be renovated in phases due to the amount of cost that was involved. But we wanted to do the first phase and then get the stadium to play matches, and then we continue on the second and the third. So he said, no, you have to be able to do all the orders, at least to be able to meet CAF standard, because the stadium was banned. So that was the only ban that we know as a country, and that is not what some people seem to understand, because when we issued our press statement to explain, instead of people reading our press statement to understand, they decided to follow what other people were saying that was not in line with what we said. So this one, when we're done, is when CAF now will be coming to determine whether we can play here or not. I guess that clears it. Now, in terms of the cost, if you're a journalist, I'm asking you to go online, make research on how much money other countries are spending on renovating their stadiums. We had Sierra Leone is renovating, Burkina Faso is renovating. There are 33 countries in Africa who were banned by CAF to not play in their country. And from the time they banned those countries in 2022, March, until now, only 11 countries succeeded in getting their stadium ban lifted. So there are 22 countries that are still not able to play in their own country. Now, 11 countries that succeeded in getting off the ban, there is no country that spent even $10 million to renovate its stadium. What we're spending right now on that stadium is less than $4 million. So, and we want to meet the same standard that those countries that are spending 10 million are going to meet, and the materials are coming from the same Turkey, from the same China. You look at it. So these are the things. I know when we talk about money here, people say, oh, that's hard with everybody. But if you want to compare yourself with another country, then you should be ready to spend what other countries are spending. So this is the thing. All right, I guess that answers it. Well, like I said, people can search. You know, I do the research myself, and I know that there is no country spending even 10 million. Anything is more than that. The last part is about the fields. You know, yes, brother. Yeto nyala fa yalong anun tul nga recognize le yalong walati nanko nunto minka kenong footballo molbe lafto walla so molbe ka football le noma government fanan la doku jama be football le topoto kan bari nga lonne ko gambieno la interest o tambita footballo dama dol bi jele mi yalong ko lafta borola dol bi jele mi yalong ko basketball volleyball nyobaringo and all of that so walati na sign ntolla Mansa Kunda me minkeka ko wolem na ninga dula dada mi yalong ko balabo nyoto dulalem ate keno la footballo damati mba jelale ko mbe footballo soto jele nga basketball soto je nga volleyball soto je nga handball soto je in one ministerium so walati na nyindo mi yalong ko sign nga dati sign na mamme wolem di mboye filti mimbe ba kote mbe minkeka wolem ko footballo be tarla jele anum be 3-in-1 quarter soto la je mi yalon ko be kala basket, volleyball and handball so that nyim sabol be se kunnoje right and sign any other dula mi yalon ko badadala le mba jela ko nyindol fana ye tereje Athletics wo fana sulata la dulalto me minke kan walem ko nit face parata pour stadium mbina track sol fana bondila at the stadium nga track kuto kije mi yalon ko walebe kala dulati and in the future minge dulado dada mba katala pour ka tracks jibe bare sign mboyo fil abe ñin basketball volleyball so and comme ya fa ñame na manki hani football filoti dama il director fele about 2 weeks ago at our BCC pour ining Brikama Banjul area council kacha pour sa jeko nga ba manisila memorial ho dara kotake pour ay murung abenu nyame anon fanam wo fanam be continue pour ka jeko dulal doto nga katanga ke so we recognize that we will do our best to include other sports in our infrastructure development.
Thank you. Next set of questions.
Good evening, everyone. I also want to commend the Mr. Usman Fofana, Life Skill Unit, working with Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. Usman Fofana. I'm going to Minister Kontona Bake, sport la fanala, sport la fana fotale, entrepreneur demanding fotaje, ntabela fila comment like nko have funding chol skills to transform their livelihood. Comme en gambe sa fanya nyame comme en ka fenke mi alanko asi kawa wala isaje asike kuri mi alanko asike fenting kamen doku nka wafi banda ni sama doku mi alanko afota do mandina fota jang ndeka sport da mala moy anen entrepreneur do manding wala moy bare ndinga sano nyatlin sano la comme en ka funding cholo malon alla sartol ya to le marta sartol policies mon sarle barbul mi alanko ni sano keta asi deda kote ke jang gambe jang mi alan ko mba wafila banta o sinna bal dala somen ka adomo asa sembentu a balundi malon alla jero do to nyaadi alla administration in terms of sports.
I think that question is about the agro value chain. How do we involve young people in the agro value chain to make sure that the things that are produced here are also used but also exported? So the agro value chain among young people. I think you'll answer that. Yes, next, please. The mic is not working. Can we get another mic, please?
Hello?
Thank you. Good evening to you all. My name is Mariama Jallo from Nyatu, Gambia, a media worker, freelancer. But then I would just like to go on to the Wolof version because many are listening onto the local languages. maa ngi nuyu képp koo xam ne yaa ngi fii rek comme ni ma ko waxee si angale yaakaar naa ne ñi ñuy déglu yëpp si Mansa Kunda bi Ministerial Hall bi ñu bari li ñuy dégg rek mooy si kaalamay Kocca Barma wala Mandinka bi li ma doon laajte rek mooy ndaw si nga xam ne génn na wax mbiri Nadi nekk na loo xam ne lu am solo la ñu ngi gërëm ministre bi ak ñi nga xam ne rek mooy tiimam bi waaye ndax si li ngeen nekk di def pour jigéen ñi ak ndaw ñi ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi si biti xam nañ ne yéen a ngi def lii pour ndaw ñi ak jigéen ñi parce que yaakaar naa ne am na yu bari yéen ay ministre bi dañ koo nekk di def waaye dañ dee fàtte ne dañ war a dem si askan bi Gambie yi pour sensitiser leen ñu xam ñan a qualified pour ñëw ñu dimbale leen ak lan lañ war a def ñu dimbale leen maanaam fi ñu war a jaar docteur maa ngi jégal bu baax a baax ñaareeli laajte bi mooy
benn laajte rek la mooy loi bi
waaye dafa am solo maa ngi
mooy loi bi nañ ñëwaat bu ma yaa loi bi jërëjëf
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Bakary Badjie from Citizens Network Gambia. My question is directed to the Honorable Minister. I am very frequent at the Independence Stadium following renovation works, and I can proudly say as a Gambian, we've seen a huge improvement in terms of trying to change the face of the stadium to at least a standard one. That said, you said, and I quote, that the stadium, or the renovation work will be done by the end of the month. And I know after that, CAF should be here for inspection at least 45 days before the stadium is playable. When do we expect to see CAF in this country? And talking about the renovation work, what happens to the roads leading to the Independence Stadium? And our tracks, very important. Our athletes are suffering going to Dakar every time for training. And this is why we cannot. Yes, I am asking still one question concerning the Independence Stadium. The tracks. Our athletes are going beyond the country to train, and that's why we cannot produce more Gina Bass and Ibrahim Kamara still. When will this third phase of the renovation start? And what step have you taken to make sure these tracks are changed immediately after this second phase is done? Thank you.
Thank you. Very good question. Yes. So, Honorable, back to base.
Me? Okay. Ma turn to kunjika laajte me ñinin karo ke pour ma koyro pour na business youth business owners ani musol ibela business wol samano la banta nyami ntol kamenke nidinki training ki karandi ila business wol iba present no la wel nyaabi ay mbale mbu fula mandingol so do la kata of la food processing, packaging, because janni bela business wala ila produce sambala banda sarto lebije comme inyanta ka register Gambia nke mako le register nke train le pour be ibe presentation ke la nyadi ila produce iba package la nyami how can it get to standard janni ba sambala banda wo be nka kele pour preparation pour ibe la produce sambala banta nyami. In that aspect as well, we have a good collaboration with GAIPA because komi yaji nyamin tulnedi na duku jama be grassroots nka business ndingole mako puya sele santo. We have an MOU with GAIPA ngalo yetul fanan ne dia national agency ike mako ile purka produce samba banta nka men fanan ke wole purka opportunities di young people la. Just 2-3 weeks ago, nga opportunity di one entrepreneur abota berending nga mira itambi jamme melodu abe afanambe agri business la nga samba China through the Ministry of Youth and Sport on experience sharing visit in China. So we create those kind of opportunities for young entrepreneurs and see to it that they produce have reached good standard to the extent that they're able to sell them outside. So we've been really involved in that. In terms of sensitization, comme ndaw si nung ko waxe hijna tam wa degala hijna ñene duñ ko gis way dañ leen nekk ci télé bi dañ leen nekk ci rajo bi at bu nekk dafa am radios yoo xam ne dañ leen dee fay ci at bi yëpp almost on a weekly basis dañ dee am fufu panel discussions dañ dee also use suñ social media page bu baax about few days ago tam ñu ngi woon Birkama Ba radio station ñu ngi woon URR GRTS radio station suñ information bi daf dee dem bu baax waaye dafa nekk ni sometimes opportunities yi daf dee tuuti daf dee limited ba nga xam ne xëj na ñeneen ñi dañ dee filmer duñ dee jot information bi comme tey ñu ngi am project bu ees ñu ngi is under the AFDB comme information suñ information daf dee dem bu baax project bi nag CRR la ak URR si project bi only 1000 junni ndaw rek lañ soxla suma team bi nañ wax si junni ndaw ñooñu tey comme ni ma waxee yow receive nañ over 10,000 applications pour benn 1000 groupe rek lañ fa war a jege so dañ dee try bu baax pour make sure ne information bi disseminate nañ ko using all platforms. Thank you.
All right, we go to the other side now.
Okay, now Mr. Nani, about the When is CAF going to be here? I mean, really, I cannot be able to say when CAF is going to be here. One thing is certain, we are taking the final pictures on Tuesday. This coming Tuesday is when we'll be taking the final pictures and we will send them to CAF. Now, CAF will make a determination as to whether they are okay with the pictures and the videos that is coming from the stadium and decide to give it a pass, or they would decide to send an officer to come on the ground and inspect. If they are okay with the photos and the videos, then we are good enough. But if they want to come here, that really is up to CAF. It's because we cannot determine for them when they can be able to send an officer. Like I said, what happened in the other time when we wanted them to be here, it took them a whole month or 2 months before they can be here. So that's the answer to that. The tax, we are definitely on it. Like I said, these are expensive projects, and sometimes, yes, we do our best, but it also depends on the allocations of funds. If you want to fix the tracks today, if it is left to us alone, we can just go and fix the tracks. We can do it as a holistic project. But we are allocated funds and we respond to the availability funds and do what we're doing. The commitment is there. We're taking them in phases. The third phase is what is going to be the tracks, and we're really committed towards it. And we want our athletes to be training. Now, let me say something about this Senegal thing that I see sometimes people talk about. Senegal has an excellent center, and it's an excellent center for West Africa. It is not a government project. It is developed by the Olympic Solidarity, understanding that most of these sub-Saharan African countries don't have good tracks. So they developed an excellent center based in Senegal for the countries within the sub-region to send their athletes to go and train there. That is why Gambia, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, Gina's major competitor is Talu. Talu was in Senegal for the same center. So this is the issue that is also important, that we tell people that the center in Senegal is an excellent center for the region, not by the government, but by the Olympic Solidarity, understanding the struggle that these countries have. They build one in an identified country in the region, and the athletes of these areas would go there for training. That is the issue about Senegal, and that's why our athletes go there. Yes, we don't have tracks that is good enough, but this also needs to be clarified. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to the other side of the aisle.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Omar Faye. I work for the State TV. I just have one question that I would like to pose to the Honorable Minister with regards to the overall process of sports development. Is your ministry also thinking forward in terms of building a national sports museum where our athletes, history or even past achievements would be archived and our stories got to be told by our people? Is your ministry really looking forward to this in the long run? Thank you.
Next, please.
All right. Good evening. My name is Mohamed Jallo from GRTS. I have 3 important questions, but since I cannot ask them, I will ask one. Hopefully I can get the mic back. My first question is, I will quote from the Information Minister's opening speech where he said, this sector is very important, and to a large extent the development of this country depends on this sector, and the retrogress of the country also to a large extent will depend on this sector. Now what I want to ask is, knowing how important this sector is, why is it that this sector continues to attract the least budget among the ministries? And what is the Ministry of Youth and Sports doing to make sure that the budget of the Ministry of Youth and Sports would be increased to make sure that it gets that budget that would be able to cater for both youth and sports?
Thank you. Very good question. Honorable.
Thank you very much. My name is Omar Jaju, the president of the SJAG, the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia. So I want to begin by commending the minister for coming up with this great idea. I think for the first time in the history of Gambian sports, we have a sports tribunal that is going to ensure fairness and justice in Gambian sports. So I want to commend you for that. My quick question is, you've mentioned also the Sports Act. We had the Sports Council Act, which was going. It's good to come up with this act. But how did the consultation process go? Did you consult the sports associations? I know that you consulted the Regional Sports Committee, and this act directly involves the National Sports Associations. I'm asking, did you consult them? If not, at what level did you want to include them in this very important decision-making process?
Thank you. Great. Thank you. Honorable. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jalo, for that question. You see, government is set up in such a way that most of the ministries set up are equally the same. Around July or August, we received call circular from finance, giving each ministry a ceiling, asking you your budgetary submissions should be based on that ceiling. I like your question very much, and because I will be advocating for that. Considering the importance of this sector, two critical sectors, the youth and sports, and the youth component are the majority of the population, which means that this sector is very critical. I fully agree with you. We need the bulk of the cake to make sure we implement most of our programs. We will not be tired. We will keep on pushing to make sure that we get more budgetary allocations to be able to implement all our intended programs. But yes, again, it's a way that things are structured at the Ministry of Finance. My colleague PS is here, will attest to that. They give you a ceiling, ask you to do your budget based on that ceiling. Whether it's enough or not, you have to squeeze yourself toward that ceiling. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
I think let me just also add on to what the yes is saying. That's a very important question. Remember also that youth issues are mainstreamed across the other sectors as well. So if you, let's take education for example. I think education receives a chunk of the budget. I'm not sure 100% of the budget, but I think they receive really a chunk of the budget. And remember that most of the young people are in the education sector as well. So if you want to take all the budget, give it to youth and deprive, let's say, infrastructure, which is important for trade, which is important for tourism, which is important for other stuff as well, education, healthcare, employment. And employment is not with the youth, it's with trade as well. And we have to also focus on that. So the most important thing is that the budget is made in a manner in which young people's issues are mainstreamed in the other sectors, just like when we say gender. If the Ministry of Gender will also say women are 51% of the population, therefore most of the budgets will go there, but women, female, gender issues are also mainstream in other sectors as well, in healthcare for example, and so on and so forth. So this is very critical. But we commend you that even with the meager budget that you have, you're able to implement all these very important projects in developing sports and young people in this country.
Okay, I think the question on the budget is adequately answered, so to save time, no need to talk about it. But the Sport Act, or the bill, did we consult? No, there was a task force that was put in place, and it had representatives from the umbrella body of the sport associations, which is the GNOC, because all the other sports are all part of the GNOC. So the GNOC was represented in the task force that was developing the bill in consultation with the consultant that was identified. Now, once it gets through the process, there is a secondary aspect, and that's where we believe the association play a key role, which is the sport regulation. So the act is more or less a framework that is put in place. But the act in a particular section of the bill, when it becomes an act, is saying that there should be a regulation that would be done to administer the act itself. So this is where we believe that we will have a consultation nationwide consultation, just like we did with the policy, because laws are mostly government-controlled issue, because you will never agree, because people will, you trying to regulate something, that those people will probably never agree with you if you want to regulate them in such a way. But the regulation would be the one that we believe would be subjected to that level.
I think there was one question. Yeah. All the questions answered.
The museum, sorry. I'm told there was a question on National Sport Museum. Well, to say the truth, no, we have no plans at the moment to have a museum. What we intend to do is to use one of the rooms at the stadium to have something specific to sports, like a little bit of history, a little bit of pictures from the past, and put them somewhere else for people that go there to see. You can call it a mini museum, but we have currently no plans of developing a nationwide museum for sports only.
Okay, so we'll take the last set of questions. We'll make it 4, 2 from this side and 2 from this side briefly, because time is not on our side. So please, let's take 2 from this side, and then 2 from this side, and then that's it. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Mamadou Gajaga, sports journalist. I work at QTV as a reporter and a presenter. My question will be directed to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakary Badjie. You've talked about infrastructural development. We know it is important, but do you factor the quality of this infrastructure and durability?
Thank you. One more from that end. You have a question? You have a question? Yes, go on.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So for the people that want to become sport commentators.
What's your name, please?
Ibrahim Ajouf.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the people that want to become sport commentators and analyzers, what are some of the steps we can take in order to achieve that set goals?
All right. Thank you.
Minister Manta, I'm not doing a question.
Bugmala job question because yen ticket we can book. I want to privatize
the journalist like.
All right, go on.
Waaw bu gàtt rek di jaajëfal ñëpp kilifa yi fi toog di leen daral bu baax a baax honorable minister si sa wax yaa ngi wax ne ndaw ñu bari ñu ngi génn réew mi di dem yooni suuf ndax si sa biir wax yaakaar am na leen loo xam ne mun nañ koo def pour ndaw ñu mun a toog fii si réew mi daan seen doole comme kii nu mu ko waxee jaaxali pàccaar mu fi yeneen yang fi waaye leneen tamit ndax gëstu ngeen salary parce que
non benn question rek benn rek.
Okay. Can we go
so on this side too, no, already ñi nga am ne laajte wuñ. No, yan ñu ba no, on this side. All right, go quickly.
Thank you.
I hope you are taking notes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fatou Badjie, a representative from the Gambia Judo, and also serving as an executive and also a judoka, that's an athlete. My main question is going to the National Youth Council and also the ministry. My main concern is I had so many times that you guys were mentioning facilities that have been provided to the athletes, to the basketball players, to handball, baseball, but I didn't hear anything about providing a national structure for those involved in judo, taekwondo, kung fu, and other combating sports. So is there any long-term goal or any procedure or any steps that you guys are having or any plans that you guys are having towards providing us with a national structure?
Okay, so that's the final question from this end. We'll take only 2 from this end and that's it, the two of them. Quickly, just quickly, and we'll give the chance for them to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Mamadou Diallo from Musa Molo Online TV and the CEO and the founder as well. My question goes to the Minister of Youth and Sport, Honorable Bakary Badjie. Many youths in this country are living in the Gambia and going through the back way, as we all know. Most of them, if you talk to them, they will tell you that Gambia government is not giving us opportunity to when it comes to employment. Many, if you ask them, that's what they always say. What is your ministry doing to make sure that you keep this youth in this country and give them the opportunity to, when it comes to employment? Thank you.
Very similar to the other question. Final question over there. Thank you.
Good evening to you all. I'm Aliou Nyan, the Secretary General of the Gambia Basketball Association. My question I'm asking because we feel that it's important. We understand that you have explained about the synergy and how certain things cross across different ministries, but we feel that, or I feel that, it is important for the Ministry of Youth and Sports to be seen to be pushing the agenda of scholar athletes. So do you, or if not, is there anything in the plan to have specific Ministry of Youth and Sports scholarship, especially those targeted towards our national athletes who are home-based here in the Gambia?
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Those questions are very pertinent. Now we'll hand over to the ministry to answer those questions, and we'll have the closing remarks. Thank you. Honorable Minister, the floor is yours.
Okay. For the question that was asked by Mamadou Gajaga, that whether we are factoring in the quality and the durability of the infrastructure that the ministry is doing. Of course, this is done because when you want to put up an infrastructure, you don't put up the infrastructure for the sake of having it just for a very short period. The mini stadia that we build across the country, including the renovation of the Independence Stadium. Our objective is to ensure that this infrastructure lasts long, knowing that finances is something that we are limited by. So when we are building these infrastructures, we ensure that we build an infrastructure that is durable and also of quality. So I think that answers your question. And also, they are given to contractors that are qualified, so that it will also ensure your doubt, that is the durability and the quality. And the other question from our brother there, I would advise that you pursue journalism, because we have the Sports Journalists Association here, so that you will get the right advice from them on how to pursue that dream to be a commentator and an analyst. Yes. And the third one, Madam from the Gambia Judo Association. Like the minister said earlier, a few weeks ago I was at BCC to discuss with them on how to sign an MOU and then try to upgrade Mane Silla Hall, so that we are able to at least put up something like an indoor. But with the martial arts, you can do them anywhere in the mini stadia that we are building. You have to have your tatami and then spread it on the lawns that will be built, and then you do your activities there. So all martial arts are also part of the activities of building an infrastructure for sports across the country. So you are also catered for. Thank you.
Are all the questions answered? Which one? Scholar athletes, yes.
What are we doing? Okay, so let me start with the other one. I think that answer gives us, with judo and taekwondo, even in this hall, you can do it here. You just need the tatami, spread it, and then you're good to go. So one thing that I want to say is about the innovative nature of the associations that are running the sports. Because as a ministry, as a sport council, our responsibility is policy, regulation, and to some extent the financing. But the running of the association itself is the mandate of the executive that the associations elect. And they also have their international partners. But the international partners want to see it regularized at the country level and then you are doing activities and reporting, and then they can support you with some of these things. I mean, we happened with basketball. Those times it was difficult. They have an executive that came up and they put things in place, and they're now back on track. The same thing happens with quite a number of associates that we can give example of. And also, we want you to also put your leadership to task so that they also start initiating something and getting the support that is necessary. Now, the scholar athletes, what do we have? Really, at the moment, we do not have any concept around it. All what we depend on is, for instance, we have an opportunity for coaches to train, and then they come and train the athletes. But for the athletes themselves, we do not currently have a program. Maybe that's something that we probably need to discuss more and see how best we can initiate it. But again, even if you do, it's more about taking them outside to train. And some of them is mostly through the colleges and others. And sometimes we have those challenges because we've had, no need to mention names, but we have top athletes who could not get to those kind of programs because they did not have the entry requirement based on their educational level. So these are some of the challenges, but like I said, we can discuss this in detail and see how best we can be able to support. The last thing is about what are we doing to support young people so that they don't go, they don't travel. I think we said this before, the ED said something, we said something. All of these programs that we're doing are meant for young people. If young people take up the idea, the initiative of NEDI to go into business, and we are convinced we will support them, they will excel. They will be supported. Of course, we cannot support everyone. Or if they want to do some training, NYSS, PIA, Chairman, the GSI, they are all available for young people. The batches, everybody we recruit, we have twice the number that we can take. And sometimes it's because we cannot take all of them. So everything revolves around the capacity, the financing, and everything. But we were doing our best to be able to get as many young people as possible. But all of us also have a responsibility to talk to our brothers and sisters. I mean, we all grew up in the country. The same struggles is what we all faced. We bear it, we develop ourselves, and we are today be able to do something. We want people also to believe that the little things that they have today, if they build on it, they can be able to grow and become better. But if you want to start today and succeed today, it's going to be difficult. And that is what we're encountering with a lot of young people who think, I mean, like for instance, a 12-year-old going on the back way. For what reason?
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Is the mic working? Yes. Thank you very much. I think before I close, in addition to what the government is doing under the leadership of His Excellency, President Adama Barrow, and also under your leadership at the ministry, is the complementary work of the donors as well. It has been brought to my attention that as part of the new government EU project on youth employment project in tourism and creative industries to be implemented by the International Trade Center, the government will support 500 small medium enterprises in this country, 1,000 women and youth to be supported to increase sustainable production and access to markets, and 2,800 young people to complete TVET skills-based employment program, to name just a few. The future of this country is bright. It has never been brighter. The young people are the assets of this country. His Excellency the President knows that. That is why he's investing every butut to ensure young people's skills are developed. On a final note, Honorable Minister, I'm just asking two things from your ministry. One is I'd like to see a gym at the beach for young people. You see, if young people train and are healthy, we'll spend less on healthcare and divest that money into sports development. The healthcare is overwhelmed because we are not living healthy lives. But if there are gyms at every strategic location at the beach, we can go and train. We wouldn't need the hospitals. We'll instead be held. That's one. Two, land management. Young people need space. All this sports infrastructure needs space. But the way we are now building, we're not catering for space, for youth centers and recreation facilities and stadiums. All these things we need space. If we build houses, everyone stores and shops. Where is the space to build these stadiums and these minutes? So please take note of that as well. Thank you very much. At the ministry, our job, our mandate is to ensure that we give timely, authentic, relevant, accurate information to the public. Next, Mansa Kunda, in 2 weeks, the Ministry of Health will come to also interface with Gambians. Honorable Minister and your team, thank you very much. Thank you very much. The media, the press, and also everyone watching at home, thank you until in 2 weeks' time. from the Town Hall, Mansa Kunda Ministerial Townhall. And thank you to all the media team, the technical team, everyone who made this day a success, and also the staff from the Ministry of Information as well. Thank you until next 2 weeks' time. Thank you.